I never thought I'd be telling this story. But after seeing a TikTok where a parent left their kid in a store to teach them a lesson, something in me just snapped. I'm 36 now, but I can still smell the gasoline. I can still feel the thick, hot air of that summer afternoon 20 years ago when my parents left me at a gas station. As a joke. My parents, Gerald and Denise, were what you'd call tough love champions. Every inconvenience was a lesson, every mistake a character-building exercise. They'd wake me up at 3 a.m. to mow the lawn if I forgot the day before. If I missed the bus, even if Mom was heading in the same direction, I had to walk, in the rain. That July morning was nothing unusual. We were driving back from visiting my sister Sabrina at college, about 4 hours from home. I was half asleep. In the back seat, earbuds in, zoning out to my iPod. Yeah, that old. Dad pulled into this dusty middle-of-nowhere gas station off I-95. "Scott, go get me a coffee," he barked from the driver's seat, tossing me a $5. I dragged myself inside. The cashier looked half dead from the heat. The coffee machine was broken, so I had to wait while he brewed a fresh pot. It took longer than I expected. When I finally walked back out, the car was gone. At first, I thought maybe they moved to another pump. Then I saw our beat-up Camry pulling onto the highway, taillights disappearing. My phone buzzed. A text. From Mom. "Let's see how long it takes you to get home. Consider this a lesson in problem solving." I tried calling, straight to voicemail. 20 minutes later, another text. "Don't bother calling. Your father says you need to figure this out yourself. See you when you make it home." This wasn't even the worst thing they'd done. 2 years earlier, they locked me out in February for getting a C+ in chemistry. Said maybe a night in the cold would help me focus. I ended up breaking into the garage and sleeping there. They made me pay for the window with my McDonald's money. But something about that gas station moment, it clicked, or broke. I looked down at the coffee in my hand, still steaming, and I just knew. I was done. I had about $140 saved from lifeguarding at the local pool. My backpack was in the car, but I had my wallet, my iPod, and my will to disappear. I went back inside and asked the cashier, "Where's the nearest bus station?" "About 2 miles that way," he said, pointing down the highway. "You okay, kid?" "Yeah," I lied. "Just need to make a call." I called Aunt Lola, my mom's sister. They hadn't spoken in years because, according to my parents, she enabled bad behavior. Translation: she once bought me a phone after they took mine away. She picked up on the second ring. "They what? Stay right there." Lola was 4 states away, but she moved like lightning. She called a local taxi service, bought me a bus ticket online, and told me, "Get here, we'll figure the rest out." While I waited, my phone kept buzzing. "Don't you dare call Lola. You better be walking home, young man. Your father is very disappointed in you. This attitude needs to stop." I blocked the number, powered down the phone, and got on that bus. 6 hours later, I was in a different world. I lived with Aunt Lola, got my GED, earned a few certifications, started fixing things. Eventually launched my own construction business, built a real life. I never played teaching moment games with my own kids. I thought that chapter of my life was closed, buried. Until yesterday. My office phone rang. The caller ID showed a number I hadn't seen in 20 years. I didn't answer. By the time I walked out of a meeting, I had 39 missed calls. My stomach dropped. Most were from unknown numbers, but 3 were from Sabrina. I hadn't spoken to her in 2 decades. First voicemail: "Scott, please pick up. Mom and Dad found you. They're spiraling. Just call me back, okay? Not them, me." I listened in silence, coffee going cold in my hand. The rest of the messages were a whirlwind, my parents swinging wildly between guilt and rage. "Your mother is sick. How dare you abandon your family? We did our best. You were always ungrateful." It's rich coming from them. But here we are, 20 years later, and they finally found me. We made one mistake. One. That's what they said. The last voicemail was my dad slurring his words. You think you're better than us? With your fancy business? We made you who you are. You owe us. I sat in my truck staring at my phone as it kept lighting up with calls. I didn't answer. Instead, I sent one text to Sabrina. Meeting tomorrow. Denny's on 5th, 7 a.m. Come alone or don't come. She showed up. She looked the same, just older. Same nervous habit of shredding napkins in her lap. She hadn't even sat down before blurting it out. They're losing the house. Dad's been gambling. Mom maxed out all their cards. They found my company website, and now they want money. I didn't flinch. The waitress brought coffee. I stirred in cream slowly, deliberately. Tell me everything. Turns out they'd been watching my company's social media for months. Dad had convinced himself I owed them for my success. They needed $50,000 to avoid foreclosure. Sabrina kept apologizing, said she'd tried to stop them from reaching out. I asked her the one question I'd been holding in. Why help them? After everything? She started crying. Told me about Dad's drinking getting worse. Mom's compulsive spending. How they blamed everyone but themselves. Still did. They're still our parents, she whispered. No, I said. They stopped being parents the day they left. Me at that gas station. I looked her in the eyes. That's the difference between you and me, Sabrina. You're still hoping they'll change. My phone buzzed. Mom calling. Again. I declined it. Pulled out my wallet, tossed some bills. On the table. I'm paying for breakfast. Block my number after this. Whatever they do next, don't call me. Scott, please. I mean it. You're my sister. I love you. But I'm not your solution. Let them fall. I was halfway to my truck when she came running after me. They're coming to your office, she shouted. Tomorrow morning. Mom found your business address. I tried to stop them. I swear. I just nodded. Good. Let them come. Back at the office, there were 27 new messages. They were already spinning the story to the rest of the family. I'm a heartless son, a selfish success story who abandoned his loving parents and now refuses to help in their time of need. Classic narcissist playbook. But what they didn't know was I'd been making calls of my own. Their mortgage? Owned by a bank I've worked with before. They were 3 months behind. Foreclosure had already started. And tomorrow, when they walk into my office expecting to guilt-trip me into becoming their retirement plan, everything will already be in place. Let them come. I've scheduled a meeting with my lawyer. First thing. They want to see what I've made of myself? Fine. Let them see. Let them witness exactly who I became, because of what they did. Not thanks to them, in spite of them. I'm not that scared, obedient 16-year-old anymore. I'm done playing nice. Update. Next day. I wasn't planning to update so soon, but after what happened yesterday, I need to get it out. I was in my office going over invoices when Jenny, our receptionist, buzzed me. Scott, there's a couple here insisting on seeing you. They say they're your parents. My stomach turned. I'd been expecting it, but hearing it still hit hard. Send them up, I said. Might as well face this head on. Through the glass walls of my office, I watched Gerald and Denise walk in. They looked older, worn out. Dad's once proud mustache had gone completely gray. Mom's hair was dyed blonde, but it didn't hide the deep lines carved into her face. They were wearing their church clothes, Sunday best. Mom burst into tears the moment she stepped in. Not quiet tears, but full-on wailing. My baby boy, look at you, all grown up. She moved to hug me. I stepped back. Let's keep this professional, I said, gesturing to the chairs. What do you want? Dad's chest puffed up, his go-to move when he was gearing up to lecture. Now, son, is that any way to speak to your mother? After all these years? I cut him off. You didn't spend 20 years looking for me out of love. You found me because you need something. What is it? Mom sobbed louder. How can you be so cruel? We made one little mistake. I laughed, bitter, hollow. One mistake? You left your 16-year-old kid at a gas station, 200 miles from home, as a joke. You drove off laughing. Let's see how long it takes him to get home. That wasn't a mistake. That was the last straw, after years of your games. We came back for you, Dad shouted, standing now. We drove back an hour later, but you were gone. Yeah, I said. I was gone, and I stayed gone. Best decision I ever made. I pulled out my phone and hit record. Now, state your business or leave. That's when the truth came out. Between Mom's sobs and Dad's angry outbursts, they told me everything. They'd taken out a second mortgage for one of Dad's foolproof investment schemes. Now they were 6 months behind. The bank was foreclosing. They needed $175,000 to save their house. You've done so well for yourself, Mom whimpered, gesturing around my office. Surely you can help your own parents. I let them finish. Then I reached into my desk drawer and pulled out a folder. Funny you should mention the house, I said. When I heard you were looking for me, I did some digging, found out about the foreclosure. So I had my company buy your mortgage, debt from the bank. Silence. Their faces shifted, from confusion to shock to panic. What? What does that mean? Dad asked, his voice suddenly small. It means, I said, you have 30 days to vacate the property. My company legally acquired it at auction last week. We're demolishing it for a new development project. Mom started wailing. Dad's face turned beet red. You can't do this. That's our home. Like the gas station was mine? I asked. At least I'm giving you 30 days. You gave me 30 seconds. Dad lunged across the desk. Security rushed in. I didn't flinch. I'd had them waiting outside, just in case. As they dragged my parents out, Mom screamed that I was evil. Dad threatened lawsuits. I just stood there, recording the whole thing, watching through the glass. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Sabrina. They just called me crying. What did you do? I replied, what they taught me to do. Look out for myself. I've spent 20 years building something from nothing. Now I'm using what I've built to tear down the place that was never really a home. Demolition starts next month. Final update. First off, thank you. I never expected this story to get so much attention or for so many strangers to understand. The past few days, karma did her work. After I legally purchased my parents' house through the foreclosure auction, they lost it. They called every relative, sobbing about their cruel, ungrateful son who was throwing them into the street. Thing is, they didn't expect me to have receipts. Remember those old Nokia phones that could record calls? Yeah. I still had mine. Still had the audio of them laughing as they left me at that gas station. Let's see how long it takes him to get home. I also had a folder of birthday cards with notes like, maybe if you weren't such a disappointment, 20 years of documented emotional abuse, organized, archived, time-stamped. Yesterday morning, I mass emailed it all. Every single relative. The call came at noon. Sabrina, crying. Turns out Mom and Dad had been telling everyone I'd run. Away at 16 because I was on drugs. Classic. But here's where it gets good. Remember how I said I was going to demolish their house? I did. Permits, approved, bulldozers, scheduled. I called them, told them to come watch. They showed up with Aunt Lola, Mom's sister. I think they thought she'd talk me out of it. Instead, they got front row seats to their precious house getting torn down. Mom screamed about her garden. Dad threatened to sue. With what money, Gerald? I asked. I stood there drinking. My coffee as 20 years of trauma came crashing down in 2 hours. Best part? Instead of building luxury condos, I'm putting up affordable housing, 20 units, low rent, priority to single parents with kids. Already got the plans approved. It's going to be called Annabelle Haven, after my aunt who took me in when I was 16. She passed last year, but she would have loved this. She saved me. Now her name will help save others. As for my parents, they tried rallying the neighbors against me, showed them old family photos, smiles, and matching outfits. Too bad the neighbors remembered hearing me cry at night. One of them, Mrs. Henderson, even hugged me, said she regretted never calling CPS. This morning was the final showdown. They came to my office again, this time all apologetic, humble. Dad actually cried. Mom promised she'd forgive me if I just helped them. I let them talk for 10 minutes. Then I handed them a rental application for one of the new units. Told them they're welcome to apply, just like anyone else. But they'll need references and a clean credit check. Their faces? Man, I wish I had a photo. "We're your parents," Mom yelled. "And after everything we've done for you," Dad started. I smiled. "Exactly," I said. "This is what you've earned." Demolition crew rolls out at 7 a.m. Don't forget your garden gnomes. They're still blowing up my phone. Sabrina says they're holed up in a cheap motel, threatening to sue me. Good luck with that. Every move I've made, legal, documented, justified. And tomorrow, I'm live streaming the demolition on Instagram for the whole family to see. You know what's funny? For years, I dreamed of revenge. Played it out 1,000 different ways. But in the end, just watching them deal with the consequences of their own actions, that felt better than anything I could have planned. They threw away their son over a cruel joke, and now they get to watch as everything they built comes crashing down. To make room for people they would have looked down on, I'm bringing lawn chairs and popcorn. Anyone want to join? Edit. Yes, the affordable housing project is real. I've partnered with a local nonprofit to manage applications. It's happening. And no, I'm not reconsidering. Some bridges deserve to stay burned. Edit 2. Sabrina and I are working things out. She was 8 when it happened. I can't blame her for believing their lies. We're getting coffee next week. Edit 3. Holy hell, this blew up. Thanks for the awards. And to those saying I'm being too harsh, try being left at a gas station at 16. Then come talk to me about forgiveness.